How you all doing, guys? Sorry this is coming late. I had to watch the important match, but I have a book here that we can use to go across everything as a revision for what we've done in syntax. Now, first things first, what is syntax and why is it important to you as a communicator? First of all, syntax is a branch of linguistics that have to do with the word arrangement. All right, word arrangement. It has something to do with the organization of language. If you do not get this, then that is where your problem would start from. It has to do with language and organization of words. Well, we've looked at earlier grammars in your year one, and we noticed that they're also talking about word, all right, and many words at the same time. But various schools of grammar have focused on various things, like the traditional grammar focused on saying that language is rule governed. All right, so they are much concerned with rule governedness, so they brought such things as subjects and objects and so forth, nouns and verbs and so forth, which later on we discovered another way to do that is through structural grammar, which made use of lines and all. But this time around, we're in the next school of grammar, which is transformational grammar, which dealt with formulas. All right, so formulas, it's not often we find language organized in formulas, but that's exactly what transformational grammarians tried to bring out. So the first thing you have to understand is that syntax has something to do with the mental organization of language, mental organization of language, right? So syntax, it's also grammar, but grammar simply means two things, all right? Grammar means syntax and morphology at the same time, all right? So all of them has something to do with the above, which is mental organization of language. All right, so anytime you see mental organization of language, it's grammar. All right, and grammar, you have syntax, you have morphology. It's the same thing because it has something to do with how language is being organized. All right, so now transformational grammarians aim at providing formulas to account for language. Right, now this kind of formulas are not mathematical formulas, they're just a kind of set of constructions or set of expressions that help you to know how language is being mentally organized. Right, so the formulas, if you like, are meant to help you understand the mental organization of language. Right, so how is language? Basically, if I say the man loves you, now this is an expression, but we can't say how this is organized mentally. Is thee close to man? Is love close to man? Or is you close to love? No one knows the answer. But the formula is telling you very simple that there is a way this is organized in your brain mentally. All right, so what this means is that, or what transformational grammarians are doing with the formulas, is that they're telling you that the man is close in organization and loves you are also close in organization. Transformational grammarians would therefore give this an NP and give this a VP. An NP houses the subject, which traditionally is called subject, but the NP is called by transformational grammarians. So the man is the subject, or what the whole sentence is talking about. The VP, on the other hand, houses the verb, which is the action, and the object. So two things: the VP houses the verb and the object, while the MP houses just the subject. Point number one. Once you've gotten this, you're just one way into understanding the formulas provided by transformational grammarians to understand the mental organization of language grammar. Next up, a sentence therefore has an MP and a VP. But in between the MP and the VP is what is called an auxiliary. The auxiliary is necessary, even though in this first place you can't see it. The auxiliary is always hidden. As you know, we didn't say the man auxiliary loves you. We can't say that. But yet, the auxiliary is in there, but you can't see. It is the formula that exposes you to see. Alright? So the auxiliary is basically the tense. Of course, the tense is in here, inside the verb. Alright? But at the same time, it could be outside the verb. If I say, the man will love you. Now, unlike the man loves you, where the auxiliary is a little not too obvious, in here, the auxiliary is more obvious because you can see it in will, which is a future tense. But you really can't see it with loves, can you? And that's amazing. So understand that auxiliary is always present, whether you see it or not. It's now left for the speakers to understand the tense. Now, auxiliary, therefore, tells us about the tense. So auxiliary tells us about the tense, and tense simply means the time. It's either the auxiliary is telling you that something is in the present, in the past, or in the future. Alright? It's in the past when it has ed. For example, loved. Past tense. Alright? It's in present when it has no ed. So we can say minus ed. For example, love. I love you. It's present. I loved you is past. Then future, will love. Future, will love. Future tense. So all these tense are what the auxiliary shows you in a given sentence. So you are correct to say that a sentence has an MP, right, and an auxiliary, right, and a VP. The NP houses the subject, and the VP houses the object and the verb, while the AUX carries the tense. Okay, so now that we've looked at what this means, the formulas proper. Now, the formulas are not meant to confuse you, but to make you understand the mental organization of language provided by the transformational grammarians. Now, don't think the formula is just so abstract. No, it tries to explain each and every element. All right. So the first thing is the first part of the formula tells you about the MP. So the MP has its own formula, which is NP has a determiner plus an optional ADJ plus a noun plus an optional PP. All right. So that is just trying to describe the NP. And I'm still going to explain this one after the other. So let's just call this step 1 of the formula. Now, what does this mean? We're trying to describe only the MP first. That is what this one is telling you. So now let's look at the MP. The MP has what is called a determiner. What is a determiner? Then it also talks about an ADJ or we can say an AP. So what is an AP as well? Then it has a PP. Then what is a PP as well? Let's start from a determiner. A determiner simply are three in number, A and the. Once you have this, you have a determiner. No more, no less. And the determiner is always inside the NP. That's why you see NP like this. It then means that if I have a sentence like a man is calling, I know that I'll divide like this. I'll call this a man an NP. And inside the NP, because of this A is the same with the A here, I've got to call it a determiner. That's exactly what this means. Okay? Good. Now the next part of an NP, which is also optional, is the AP. The AP simply means adjective or more than one adjective. So an AP means you can have an adjective or you can have more than one adjectives. All right? So if I have an adjective, it's under the AP, even if it's only one. For example, white men are calling. In white men are calling, if I want to analyze this, I'll do like this and say NP and do like this and say AP, because white is an adjective. Even though it's a single word, it is still part. I just have to do like this and say ADJ and say white. All right? But in this case, this is a determiner. I just have to put my NP, my determiner, then just write A. So that's the difference. Some sentences could start with an AP, some could start with a determiner. So they are still under the NP, both of them. But then you have to look at the nature of the sentence to know which one is it. If it's A, an, or the, then you know definitely it's a determiner. But if it starts with colors and shapes, all the dosaknaman, then it's definitely an adjective under the AP. Now let's look at adjectives. Already we know what adjectives are under the dosaknaman, so I don't need to go too much, but still, let's look at them. We have demonstratives, all right? Demonstratives as the D in the dosaknaman, right? So the demonstratives, we have what can be called demonstratives proper, which is words like this, that, those, these. These are demonstrative adjectives. So if you have a sentence like this man is cool, then definitely you're still going to have NP and AP and ADJ and this, because this is a demonstrative adjective. That is a demonstrative adjective. These is a demonstrative adjective. All right, so understand demonstrative adjectives. Then we have possessive adjectives like my. Possessive like my car, my car. We have possessive adjectives like your car. Adjective describing that this car is yours. All right. We have John's with the possession marker. John's car. All right. We have our, for example, our car. So it then means if I say John's car is outside. Then this is still NP, and this is still AP, and this is still ADJ, and this is still John. John's is an adjective, namely a possessive adjective. That is possessive adjective. Simply means possession, right? Then we have cardinal adjective as opposed to ordinal adjective. The cardinal adjective are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so forth. Then for the ordinal, we have first, second, third, fourth, fifth, etc. It then means that if in a sentence you see something like one man came looking, definitely I know it's an MP under which I have my AP and I have my ADJ and I have one, because one is an adjective, namely a cardinal adjective. Then we have ordinal adjective. The ordinal adjective are like first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Meaning, if I have a sentence like first class is great, right? Definitely, this is an MP, this is an AP under which I have an ADJ and I have my first. Definitely, this is an adjective, namely an ordinal adjective. Ordinal simply means ordering something from first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and so forth. Another kind of adjective we have, aside the demonstrative, is what can be called size and shape adjectives. All right, we have adjective of size, like big, like small, like tiny, like great. All right, we have adjectives of shape, like round, like oval, like rectangular, like sphere, etc. All right, so of course you do have opinion adjective as well, like beautiful, which is an opinion adjective, like handsome, like clean. These are opinion adjectives. These are size adjectives, shape adjectives, color adjectives, like white, black, red, etc. Then we have nationality adjective, like Nigerian, Malaysian, Chinese. All right, so these are possible adjectives we have, and so on and so forth. So all of these kind of adjectives help you to understand the NP, because the adjective are inside the NP according to the formula. The adjective is inside this AP, right? It's inside the AP. So you can have any of this, like black shoes are nice. So NP, AP, black, ADJ, black. That is just what this is telling you. But the optionality here tells you that it's possible you find an adjective. It's also possible you don't find an adjective. So be very, very vigilant of the kind of word that you see. If it's a determiner, it's in between A, an, and the. If it's an AP or an adjective is within the Dosaknaman. All right. Good. So let's proceed to the rest of the formula. Now we have an N, which is a noun or a pronoun. So don't think it's always a noun. It's sometimes called a nominal, meaning I can say you are cute, and this is an NP, and this is just a noun. As simple as that. You is now the N. The N here means nominal. All right. You are cute. This one would be a member of the VP. All right. But you is a noun. All right. A noun, or in this case a nominal pronoun, can be on its own. Okay. So it's possible it has something in front of it or it doesn't. All right. So if I say, I'll just say white men are caring. All right. So white men is an NP having an adjective under an AP, and man is a noun. So this one is having an ADJ, which is white under the Dosaknaman of color. Then man, which is a noun, you just write your noun. All right. So this is a case where you have an AP describing the man, and this is the case where you just have a nominal or a pronoun. It's possible. Okay. So that is what we are saying here. All right. So that's basically it for the NP. We continue with the same formula, but in this case I'm going to be more careful, or telling you that you're not going to get all this kind of trees inside the objectives. You can't, because we can't draw this. The question will look something like, when I say NP determiner noun, and I do something like let's just say Thailand girls are cute, and I say B, the girl is cute, and I say outside my house is fine, and I say behind the car is cool. Now, what will be the answer to this question? For example, the answer has got to be something that has a determiner and a noun. Now, if I say A, for example, Thailand girls, if I do like this and I underline here, and this one I underline here, and this one I underlined outside my house, and this one I underlined behind the car, what option would it be? Is it option A or option B or option C or option D? The answer is, you have to look at what I said here. The question is an NP that has a determiner and has a noun. The determiner, where do we see determiner here? Is Thailand a determiner? No, it's a nationality adjective. It's outside the determiner? No, it's a preposition. Is behind a determiner? No, it's a preposition. The only thing that's a determiner here is the, right? Then N is a nominal or a noun or a pronoun, and that's just girl. So the answer is going to be B, because I see determiner here, I see girl here. So that is how to respond to questions in examinations. So just look at the formula or parts of the formula and use it to answer the question. As simple as that. Then let's continue with the formula. We said earlier that an S is equal to an MP plus an AUX plus VP. And we're done with the MP, right? Nice and easy. this was what we said the MP was. You can replay the video. Now, this is the VP part. The VP, or let's just write the MP once again. The MP has an optional determiner plus an optional AP and a compulsory noun or nominal and that PP that is optional, right? Now the VP, on the other hand, the VP has what can be called a verb, which is the nucleus, very important, always present, and it has an optional MP, all right, an optional ADV, right, and a PP, also optional, and a CP, all right. Then we want to look at this PP here in the noun phrase. What is this PP? This PP simply means prepositional phrase, means preposition plus noun, all right, or plus N, or you can say preposition plus N. That is the PP. Then lastly, we want to look at the AP. The AP simply means adjective plus noun, all right. So we're going to be giving examples of each of these. Then we want to also look at the CP. The CP simply means complementary phrase, which is the complement plus the sentence. This is the formula, basically. We've done this part, that is number 1, or should I say number 2. Then we're about to do number 3 right now. All right, so in doing this, I want us to be focused on the VP. Now the VP has what can be called an auxiliary attached to it. So if I say the girl kissed the man, I'm looking at this MP and an auxiliary and a VP. Of course, we know the VP is the object plus the verb. Now, we're about to analyze the VP, no need to analyze the MP, but of course, as a bonus, we know that this is determiner, we know that this is N. Drop that nice and easy, write your D, write your girl, all right? Then we have auxiliary, kissed, yeah, past, right? Then the VP part. The VP here says the V is compulsory. So I've got to have my V here, which is kiss, all right? Because I already said past, I don't need to add ed, okay? Then the rest of the part of the sentence, what is it? MP, which is this NP. How do I know it's MP? Because it does have the determiner and the noun. So it's simple, just drop your determiner and the noun. Therefore, you write the and you write man. The girl kissed the man. Now this is quite understandable because the formula I've already told you, right, that you can have an MP which is optional, which is possible to be there, and sometimes it might not be there. In this case, it's here, so that's why it's easy. Imagine a sentence that you don't have an MP in the VP part. That is a sentence like, the girl feels good. Now, in the girl feels good, drop your MP and your AUX and your VP. Of course, this is a determiner and girl. This is NN and girl. No, sorry. This is D and this is girl. Now the auxiliary feels is present and the V here is feel. Now the problem now is good. The good is not an MP. No, it's not an ADV. It's not a PP. It's not a CP as well. It's an MP, but what kind of MP? Meaning you have to now go back to what an MP can have An NP can have a determiner. It can have an AP, which is an adjective or a noun. So this good is an adjective. I feel good. An opinion adjective. It's opinion because you might feel good today and anybody may not be feeling good. So it's opinion adjective. Therefore, it's going to be AP and you write your ADJ and write good. So this is not an NP, it's an AP. The AP is inside this NP. Okay? So this is another example of this one. Now let's move to adverb. A sentence could have an adverb like she will dance tomorrow. In she will dance tomorrow, you drop your NP, in this case just N, and write she. There's no description here, so just NPN, right? Then auxiliary here is future, right? And it's will. Then your VP is dance, V, dance, right? Will dance. Then the last but not the least is, this is not an NP at all. It's an ADV, adverb of time. So therefore, you have to write ADV and you write tomorrow. As simple as that, you've just covered for an ADV, which could be an adverb of time like tomorrow, an adverb of place like adverb of place like outside. Of course, outside is also a preposition, but here, there are also adverbs of place, adverbs of time, yesterday, tomorrow, next week, next tomorrow. Then you also have adverb of manner, slowly, carefully. Have adverb of degree, so much, adverb of frequency, always, hardly, rarely, are all adverbs. All right. Then the last but not the least, we're going to look at preposition. A preposition could also be in a VP. For example, she came inside the house. In this case, you do like this. This is your MP, your AUX, and your VP. Your MP simply is your nominal pronoun she. Then your AUX, came, is past tense. Then your V is come, right? Then your VP. Your VP is not an MP, is also not an AP, it's not an adverb, it's a PP, a prepositional phrase. Why? Because of this inside. This inside is a preposition, therefore you have to add a PP. And what's the formula for a PP here? Is a preposition plus noun. So the formula of the PP is preposition plus noun, right? So the preposition is inside, so you have to write inside. Then this one would now be the house, inside the house. All right, so that's how you analyze these PP, and then we're done. Let's move to CP. Now a CP simply means a sentence inside a sentence, like she kissed the cat because she loved it. Now this is a sentence inside a sentence. She loved it is a sentence. She kissed the cat is a sentence. All bonded by this because. Because without this because, we only have she kissed the cat and we only have She loved it. So how do we put this together in transformational grammar? Quite simple. Start from here. As always, your MP is a simple nominal she, right? Kissed, past tense, so the AUX is past. Drop it nicely. Your VP has started from the verb, which is kiss. All right, then you move from there. What's this? D. It means there's a determiner, of course, and a determiner is a property of the MP. You know this instantly because you should have a sixth sense to know that once you have D or A or an, that's a determiner, and a determiner is part of an MP. Drop the MP and move, right? NP, drop your determiner, drop your D, right? D. Then your noun would now be cat, right? Okay, so outside that, you now have what can be called a CP. It's part of the VP. So therefore, the VP now have three diodes. The first one is to the V, the second one is to the MP, and the third one is to the CP. That's what we're telling you, that a VP has a verb, optional MP, optional ADV, optional PP, and an optional CP. Hell, this is a CP. CP. In this case, it does have a CP, right? So the CP has its own formula. The formula for CP here is complement plus sentence, meaning, I'll write that down, complement or complementary plus sentence, right? The complement simply means the bond that joins the two sentences together, which is because I'm having to drop my because, right? Okay, then the S is the remaining sentence, which is the same as starting the whole formula afresh. The sentence is here, and we know a sentence has its own formula, as simple as MP, then AUX, then VP. Afresh. The she is the MP, which is N and she, right? The loved is in past tense, and it, but you have to bring your V and put your love in its root form, then it as your MP, which is now N, which is now it. So basically, we've just accounted for sentence inside a sentence, or what can be called a complex sentence in transformational grammar. So far so good, we're done. So all you need to do now is practice using all the examples. Pay attention to what is stated, and remember, questions in the OBJ are likely not to be for set A. The questions are not like this. Set B, the questions are something like this. So pay attention to something like this, because the question can come like I can decide to say VP open bracket V plus, I can decide to say PP, right, and close the bracket. So the options will be like A, she is happy. B, she lives inside the hut. C, she loves me. And D, she is beautiful. What will be the answer? The answer will be B. Why? Because the VP has a V, although I would have to underline, right? So I would underline this one, I would underline this one, I would underline this one, and I would underline this one. It's now left for you to pick. Do you pick this, A? this happy is an adjective. There's no adjective right in this formula, right? So this is not correct. B, she lives inside the house, inside the hut, is correct. Why? Because the VP is pointing the V, which is lives, and a PP, which is a prepositional phrase having inside, then the rest of the MP, which is this. So this is correct. C, of course, is wrong. She loves me. Yeah, this is loves V, but this me is an MP, not a PP. Then the D, she is beautiful. She is beautiful. It's an AP, not a PP. The PP is inside the house. So pay attention to things like this. It is very likely to come up. All right. So it means you have to demonstrate your knowledge. That is if it comes in set A. All right. That is done. Or let me give you another example of what's possible. We can have something like NP open bracket, AP, PP. You can come like this, right? So it can be like A, the boy is hungry. B, a man is wise. C, white men outside the country are wise. And D, behind my car was a snake. Now, if I choose to say A, the boy is hungry, I might underline the boy and a man and white men outside the country and behind my car. What would be your answer? Is it A or is it B or is it C? Now, let's look at A. A is the boy, is simply NP determiner. There's no determiner here, so A is not the correct answer. B, a man is wise. This is an MP with a determiner, no determiner here. A is the determiner, so B is not correct. Then C. C says white men outside the country. White is adjective under AP, okay? White man is also adjective. Outside is preposition. The country is prepositional phrase. So C is the correct answer, right? Then let's look at option D. D just says behind my car. Behind my car is an MP having a PP. There is no evidence of an AP or an adjective inside the sentence. So pay attention to things like this for in case it says A. Get that right. Then let's look at something else that we started treating before the coming of or after transformational grammar, and that's basically concord. Concord simply means an agreement, right? The different kinds of agreement in a given sentence, right? So the agreement is very important and it helps you to speak grammatically correct things because there have to be some kind of agreement, right? So there is what number one kind of agreement? We have subject verb agreement. We have object verb agreement. We have proximity agreement, right? We have collective noun agreement, and last but not the least, we have a pair of agreement. In modern English syntax, which you shall be doing in subsequent semesters, we're going to deal with the rest of these, right? That's when we're dealing with functional grammar and systemic functional grammar. They will be looking at all of these concepts because it is to be introduced in modern English syntax, because after transformational grammar you have systemic and you have systemic functional, and now we're getting almost done with grammar in the field of communication and linguistics. But still, these are the kind of agreements we have: subject verb agreement, object verb agreement, proximity agreement, collective noun agreement, a pair of agreement. We'll be looking at these things very, very briefly. Let's start with subject verb agreement. Subject verb agreement simply means there should be an agreement between the subject and the verb. All right? So the subject, therefore, is something that has to be with a noun, maybe boy, like, okay, maybe the boy is a subject. Then the verb have to agree. The boy dances. All right? So if I say, for example, I say yesterday now, I say the boy dances. There have to be an agreement. The agreement is simple. If the noun is singular, it has no S. Like you can see, this boy has no S, singular. But if the verb is singular, it must have S. So I can say this is singular. So if a sentence is having a singular subject, the verb is also singular. A noun that is singular doesn't have S, that's why you see minus S. But a verb that is singular has S. Okay? It's also possible the reverse is the case. If I say the boys, now I'm adding S. The boys, okay, sorry, let me not use dances here. The boy dances. And here, I'll say the boys dance. I wouldn't say the boys dances. Therefore, it's correct to say that when a subject noun is plural, it would have plus S. As you can see, the boys have S. But a verb that is plural doesn't have an S. As you can see, minus and plus, plus and minus. Both cannot be plus, plus. Both cannot be minus, minus. I'll repeat it again. A subject that is a noun, when it's singular, it doesn't have S. A verb that is singular has S. As you can see, the boy dances. A noun subject that is plural has S, whereas a verb that is plural doesn't have S. The boys dance. So pay attention to the S's because they're very, very important, right? So this is a subject-verb agreement. Subject, boy, verb, dance. Subject and verb must agree. The boy and dances must also agree. Subject-verb agreement done. Now, something of note, there are some special verbs that doesn't even carry S. If it's singular, it's is. The boy is. Maybe just say happy, for instance. The boy is happy. But if it's plural, I would say the boys are happy. It's still subject and verb agreement. The subject and verb must agree. All right? So that's subject-verb agreement. You can replay the video to understand again. Let's look at object-verb agreement. The object and verb must agree, but it's now going to be depending on the kind of object. For object-verb agreement, there's what is called an indefinite pronoun, and that's exactly what is going to help us to understand this. An indefinite pronoun. An indefinite pronoun such as everybody, everybody or anybody, if I say anybody or everybody is on his own, anybody is on his own, this his singular. This is also singular. This everybody and anybody is also singular. The his is the object that must agree with the verb. His is the subject. Sorry, his is the object. The object must agree with the verb. Right? So understand that everybody is on his own. This his is the object. It must agree. Is, as you can see from here, is a singular verb. So a singular verb has to go like that. Then the next one is proximity concord, which is number 3. Proximity concord or proximity agreement, because agreement and concord are just the same thing. Proximity simply means, if I say the men, the girls, and a boy, I would say dances. This verb is carrying S. Why is the dance carrying S? Why? When the men is plural, the girls is plural. It's only this a boy that is closest to dance that is singular. And we know that for dance to have S, it means that any verb that have S is singular. So it means that for proximity concord, when there are many subjects, the verb carries the number of the subject closest to it. A boy is singular, therefore the verb has to carry singular. That is, it has to carry S. If the sentence was like the man, the girl, and the boys, I will say dance, not dances anymore. Why? Meaning V minus S, plural. Yes, the man is singular here, the girl is singular here, the boys is plural here. The verb has to take the number of the subject closest to it. That is why it's called proximity. Proximity means distance or closeness. It means the boys is the closest subject to dance. So now, as you can see, I will say the man, the girl, and the boys dance. The boys dance. I wouldn't say the boys dances. Are you following? So replay the video and get the point. The last, okay, we have collective noun concord. The collective noun concord, which is number 1, 2, 3, 4, which is number 4. Collective noun concord. The collective noun concord has something to do with collective nouns. Like when I say a club, A club is a collective noun, meaning a collection of people. For example, Barcelona. Let me just say Barcelona is a club, is a subject, right? Collective noun. So if I say Barcelona is good. Now, I would say Barcelona is good. I'm using is. Is a singular verb. But why am I not saying Barcelona are good? Barcelona is a collective noun, meaning, of course, they have footballers, they have players, they have everybody, right? So why am I using is? However, if I say Barcelona are going to win, I'm not saying Barcelona is going to win this time. I'm saying Barcelona are going to win. So there's a problem. Why am I using is here and why am I using are here? Are is plural. Why am I using are here? I'm using are here because this is an action. Whereas I'm using is here because this is a state. Remember in first semester I said a verb either shows action or it shows state. So what I'm telling you here now is collective noun conquered means that whenever you have a collective noun, if it's a state, you use singular verb. Whereas if it is an action, you use a plural verb. What is state, first of all? State simply means it's not an action. Barcelona is good. That's just their status. But if I say Barcelona are going to, it is an action, right? Because of this going, right? So that is collective noun conquered. I'll give you another example. I can say the organization, which is another collective noun. You know that it's a collective noun. The organization is far. Maybe the organization is far. So I'm using is. That is just the status. It is not an action. It's just a description. Just, you understand? Just a state. That is the status. It's far from accessibility. But I would say the organization help people. So this help is plural because it doesn't have s. A verb minus s is plural. So the organization, I wouldn't say the organization helps people. No, because help is an action. A collective noun with an action is going to carry plural, not singular. Whereas if it's state, it will carry singular. The last conquered, and we call it a day, is a pair of conquered. A pair of conquered, or a pair of agreement, which is our number 5. A pair of conquered simply means that whenever you have a pair of something, like a pair of shoes, I wouldn't say a pair of shoes are on the table. I would say a pair of shoes is on the table. So a pair of shoes is not plural subject. It is a singular subject. So anything a pair of, it's singular, not plural. Even if I say a pair of sandals, I wouldn't say a pair of sandals are here. I would say a pair of sandals is here. So a pair of shoes is on the table. So singular is also singular. So a singular subject goes with a singular verb. So a pair of conquered is very simple. It simply means that a singular subject goes with a singular verb. A singular, a pair of shoes, a pair of sandals, a pair of trousers, a pair of this, a pair of that. Always goes with a singular verb. As simple as that. Play this video again, and I wish you all the best.